community outreach. So who or what is Montesano Community Outreach? It's a private nonprofit, tax-exempt organization created in 2004. And the mission of the organization is to address the physical, educational, social, cultural, and emotional needs of Montesano residents, with an emphasis on the needs of the community's youth. Originally, it started out as a group of people that wanted to build a community center or develop a community center. As they got together and started talking and looking at what the needs were, they looked at this after-school program as something that was more immediate and went that direction. But it was, again, originally going to be a group of people looking at a community center. Okay, so the current board, just to give you an idea of who's involved: Ken Albert is the president, Stu Menifee is the vice president, Judy Holliday, former principal at Simpson and a teacher at the high school, I think, is the secretary. I'm the treasurer, and then we have Renee Quinn, Jacqueline Riker, and Stephanie Klinger, the principal at Simpson, and Crystal Lee, from the high school, also serve on the board. We are looking for a few more board members, so if you are interested in serving, or you know of anybody that would be interested in serving on something like this, we meet once a month, and typically it takes about an hour to kind of go through things. But so the programs that we are involved with the school district are the after-school program at Simpson, which is for grades 3 through 6. The junior high school mentoring tutoring program, and our summer art camp. So the vision of the after school program, won't go over it in detail, but basically, again, it's meeting academic, social, emotional, physical, and cultural needs of 3rd through 12th graders. It has nutritious snacks, tutoring, reading, recreational opportunities, and building a relationship between the high school kids that are our staff and the kids that they're serving. So what is it? Each day, 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, from around the 1st of October through the end of May, the kids show up at Simpson. They have a nutritious snack that serves as kind of a transition time for coming out of school, gets them a little bit of something to slake their hunger and kind of make the transition. They go into, so that just before 3 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, they go into what's called Power Hour, which is working on homework, tutoring, mentoring by volunteers that are involved in it. And it's pretty structured. The idea is to give them some academic work. And then from 4 to 5 is what we call life skills. And that ranges from just being able to get out and run around and get some of your energy taken care of. But as you see, there's all kinds of classes. Some of them are one day. Some of them will be 1 day a week for several weeks, a whole variety of things. But it's first day, Halloween, the police department comes in, does a Halloween safety. The Timberland Library comes in and does book bingo, sewing, woodworking, drumming, jewelry making, floor hockey. I taught a root beer making class, and then when the root beer was done, I taught them how to make homemade ice cream, and we served root beer floats to everybody in there. I had about 10, 12 kids that worked with me, and then we made root beer floats for the whole gang. We had 173 separate individual participants over the course of last year. 114, we have 3 sessions, and we averaged about 114 per session. We had 60 kids that came to all 3 sessions. And about 47% of the kids that we're serving are free and reduced lunch. So we are.
What's our district average here?
34-ish. Yeah. So we're and the kids that show up for a variety of reasons. But one of the ways they get there is if their parents and teachers kind of can steer them that way, because it's a little more structured, gets homework done, gives kids a chance for some other experiences. So, and so we have that kind of piece of it. The other benefits of the program as it's set up, it's a safe place for kids to go. So we're dealing with latchkey kinds of issues and stuff. So this is a place where kids can go after school, and the parents know it's safe and it's structured. One of the benefits that I think is pretty intriguing is the staff for the program. We have a paid director, Rachel Bigby. We're in the process of hiring now a academic coach, which is another adult. We had one of the pairs at Simpson did it last year, and had a variety of other people that have done it, but they kind of help. And then we have high school age kids, what we call team leaders, and they'll be responsible for a group of 8 or 10 of the students, and they'll take them off and work with them when it's during power hour. And then they'll lead a lot of the life skills sessions. And so this, for many or most of them, this is their first job experience. They get paid. They're expected to show up on time. They go through a training, a week of training before the program starts. So it's a real job, and they're expected to act like it's a real job. And so it's good job experience. So it's kind of one of those ancillary benefits of the program. And we depend a lot on community volunteers. So last year we had over 50 different people that came in and tutored or worked with kids, let kids read to them, or worked with them on their homework, where you need one-on-one or two-on-one small groups to really work with the kid. That includes the people that came in with their dogs so that the kids could read to them. And so it brings people in from the community into our schools, which is a good thing, because then they get some ownership of the schools. And when we're asking people to cough up money to pass a levy or something, it's nice to have people involved. It gives multi-generational interaction, so that we have these mostly are older adults that can come in. And again, if anybody's looking for something to do between 3 and 4 in the afternoon, you can come in every day for the whole year. You can come in one day. You can come in a couple days a month or whatever, but we're always looking for more people that can come in and teach the life skills classes, or come in and work with kids one-on-one. So the junior senior high, currently we're funding stipends for 2 teachers to stay after school. I think it's just after school. This program has really evolved over time. So at one point we also had a teacher that came in before school, and basically they're just there to be available to kids that are having trouble with their homework or having trouble understanding something, and they just need some more time and some more work. Over the years, we've served snacks as part of the high school, senior high school program. We don't do that anymore. It was more structured, and we had bigger groups, but we have clear indications that there were some kids that graduated because they had this little extra help to kind of get them through. I can think of a couple of kids that we've kept eligible for sports because they had the opportunity to come in and get some extra help so that they could pass their classes. Last year, we actually funded in addition to the 2 teachers, we funded 2 students to be math tutor mentors, and they were there before school to help. We didn't do that this year, and Crystal said that there were other options that kids were being offered, and that wasn't as critical for this year, but we're willing to look at stuff like that. And then a couple of years ago, we started our art camp. Montesano is really good at providing athletic activities, but there's kind of I think a lack of opportunities for kids to get involved in the arts, particularly because of the emphasis on testing and everything in our schools, that a lot of the art education that used to take place in schools it's just harder to do that. And so our goal was to provide an opportunity for kids to, and I do this in quotes, real art. This is not sort of arts and crafts, you know, we're not making stuff with popsicle sticks and that sort of thing that they do. Over the years, they've done sculpture, they've done photography, and then come back into the lab and use programs to edit the photographs. You'll see some pictures here. It basically what we've done is a 1 week half-day session. When we first started out, we did elementary in the morning and high school in the afternoon. Year before last, we didn't have much response from the high school, but we did have a lot of elementary kids, so we actually had 2 elementary. And elementary is kind of going into the 3rd grade through 7th and maybe 8th grade. So we're trying to, particularly kids going into the 7th grade, are still kind of fit that mold. But we worked closely with the high school art teacher in the early days, and I'm hoping with the transition this summer, it didn't work out, but I'm hoping we'll engage the high school art teacher again and see if we can get more of the high school kids involved. It's intriguing to me because a lot of kids don't get a chance to take art, but they're interested in art, but we haven't had the response from the high school kids that I really expected when we first started doing this. So there's I think a need out there, but we haven't figured out how to sort of advertise and market the thing to be real effective. We also are interested in looking at a technology camp. When I think of a technology camp, I'm thinking about robotics, building hands-on, kind of more engineering kinds of activities than technology as in computers, but we're open to, I mean, it could be some programming, could be shooting rockets up into the sky, but something for kids that's hands-on, kind of engineering-based stuff. We sort of tried it a couple of years, 2 years ago, didn't quite get off the ground, but I'm still interested in exploring that as an option for kind of getting at some of the STEM kinds of issues. So just a little, this is out of the year-end report from the art camp. And they did one on different kinds of colors using watercolors, acrylics, and stuff like that. And you just go to the next one. So there's trying some of it, a little bit more, and there's some. So they're actually learning about color wheels and how to mix colors and how to do stuff. They had a session on abstract art where they actually learned a little bit about, you know, kind of art appreciation and that sort of stuff next. Tints and tones and how to look at stuff, and then they made, next one, these color wheels, different ways of looking at colors and how to mix them and that kind of stuff. So this is a little hard to see. We don't charge anything for the after-school programs. So those are free to all the participants. We charge $25 for the week for the art camp. When we first got started in that, we'd be traveling around and I'd see signs up for summer art camp. 1 week session, $250, $300, $175. So at 25 bucks, it's a pretty good bargain, what we're providing. So basically the bottom line is it costs us about $70,000 a year to operate the program.
What are the benefits for team leaders?
OASI, unemployment, that kind of stuff. Just your basic Social Security, that basic kind of stuff. Okay. And on the other side, you can see it this year, kind of where we think the money's coming from. We're mostly grant funded. Kelsey Foundation has been very generous. Actually, if you go to the next one. So where's the money come from? Kelsey Foundation, Grace Harbor Community Foundation, a few years, well, back in the early 2000s, a group of people from a variety of school districts got together, wrote a bunch of grants for after-school programs, put the money in a pot, and then they use that pot to fund stuff, and so we're the beneficiaries of that each year. The Goldberg Family Foundation funds our snacks. Typically, Marge Johnson was a Montesano resident who was involved with community ed, and she has money that she gave to Grace Harbor Community. They manage it. We've got money from Weyerhaeuser, Simpson, Rainier, Walmart, the Cheris Family Fund, which is out of Seattle. One of our folks just submitted a grant to them, and we got about $10,000 for the high school program. That was one they would like. Vaughn Company has been very generous with us year after year. CenturyTel, Umpqua Bank. So we get kind of corporate and grant funding. That's the bulk of it. Individuals, we send out a request to the parents that if they'd like to participate and make a contribution. So we get a lot of $25 and $30 and $40 and $50 donations from families of the participants. Typically, I'm late this year, but this time of the year I send out a fund request to about 150 people in the community. And generally our community donations, including the parent stuff, are about $5,000 a year. So that's a good chunk of change. And then the art camp fees come in at around $800 a year or something like that. And then I would acknowledge that typically, a lot of times if you go to a government agency and you say, I want to give you this money for this program, they say, well, the program will cost this much, and then we want 25% overhead to cover the administrative stuff. And the school district donates the facilities, and they take care of all the admin overhead. So again, this is a program where we provide the money. All the people that work in the program are district employees. And so all of as treasurer, I write about 8 checks a year, and which is really nice if you're the treasurer. And everything else goes through the school district's books. And we've seen that in the budget lines. There's that thing for, I don't remember what it's called, but that's the after-school program. So that's it. So again, the impetus for doing this was just that the board of the community outreach felt like we needed to just kind of touch bases with folks and make sure that people understood what we were doing, how it was being funded, what kind of program was. The agreement basically is renews unless it keeps going year after year, unless somebody wants to opt out. And so I've put together this other little piece of paper that would say that we've reviewed it as a district board of directors, and we feel comfortable that the program, that we sort of understand what's going on, and we'd like to see the program keep going.
My kids they've both been involved in the program in grade school and more recently I think in art camp, and it had a real impact on them. And I think also having that safe place after school, it fills I think a really important niche. And but it's a great program. I appreciate you giving the presentation because it's the first time I've seen some of the details behind it. So
we do evaluations, send out kind of surveys to, well, we have a school-based team that works on it that includes a teacher too, and Stephanie Klinger, the principal, is the supervisor of the program. And so we have input from teachers. We work closely with teachers. So we see kids if teachers see kids that are struggling that are in the program, they'll talk to her and make sure they're working on the right things. We send out a survey to the teachers to get their feedback. We send out a survey to parents to kind of get their feedback occasionally. And we also send out a survey to the staff that's working on it, to the team leaders, to find out what's working for them and not. So we're getting feedback on how the program's working. And generally I've had positive feedback from the teachers that that kids are, getting their homework done and that they're getting some of the help that they need from an academic standpoint.
Any questions or comments? Or I would just say years and years ago, I volunteered in the program. It was always impressed with the way everyone impacted it seemed to have the kids. So I think it's a great thing. And there's a lot of studies too, I know, about the impact of after school programs and how they can help. So it's good. All right. No other questions for Dick? Thank you for that. Moving on to Kids, Mr. Laux.
As you know, we should have all-day kindergartens come back. We had a number of years ago, it lasted about 3 years, but now it's come back through state funding. So state's funding all-day kindergarten for our school this year, and as part of the requirement, we have to all their rules, and when we get their money, so we have to do this known as WA Kids, and it's Washington Kindergarten Inventory of Developing Skills. Right now, we have about 98 kindergarten students in 4 classes, 4 teachers, Kim Blankus, Mary Ledoux, Melissa Freeman, and Giselle Katie. And the way they proceed, what's perceived for WA Kids is it's really a process for welcoming kids and families to our schools. So at the beginning of the year, we don't come to school, but the parents bring their kids to school. So the first 3 days of school, it's parents and teacher meeting, and they discuss the strengths of their child and what they'll be doing in school. And so it's a welcoming way for kids to begin their schooling. Then sometime in the fall, usually in October, the teachers then must assess the students and using the inventory, which is the skills inventory. And then they have to discuss with the parents the results of that inventory. And these are things that will make the kids successful in school. And let the parents know where their kids fall. The inventory is given in October. And there are things like, there's several areas: social, emotional, physical, language, cognitive development, but you see in math. And so you see things like kids out on the sidewalk skipping. So that's a physical thing. The teacher's got either a clipboard or they can use their iPads, and they're noting down what Johnny's doing as he's skipping. When the next kid skips, the next kid skips. So it's pretty intensive. They have to actually observe the child doing this. It's not a paper and pencil test because they don't do those things. So they give them a test by observing them. They'll watch them interact with other kids in a small group. They have to rank them. So it takes quite a bit of time. And all that data is entered into a database, which then ends up going to the state. So it's an observational, whole language, a whole assessment of the child, all the kids' skills, from social, emotional to cognitive to math. And results are shared with parents. We have conferences coming up in the 1st of November. Results are shared with parents during that time and letting them know how their child is doing. We have until the end of October to finish this skills inventory. Under each of those areas, there's actually 20 objectives with multiple dimensions that they're looking at, so it's pretty exhaustive. The TS Gold is the Teaching Strategies Gold, is the company that provides this to the state. And then each of these areas that were looked at relate to the Common Core state standards. So it takes a lot of teacher time. We've got to get release time for them to do some of this. So I hire a substitute to come in while the teacher can actually observe the kids. It's hard to manage 25 kindergarten kids and walk around and check and see exactly what they are doing. That's that.
What was the participation like of the parents? You said the first 3 days was the parents had to come with the kids.
100%. Yeah, and we had an evening time as well, so we adapted our schedule so the parents could not come during the day. We had an evening time for them to come. So there was a couple of families that didn't make it in each class, but almost 100%.
And teachers went to training over the summer to learn how to do this. The last teacher that we, I think it was the last teacher we hired in the
Last
district
teacher that you hired,
was Giuseppe Cunningham. She's done this for 6 years with Block Kids. So she's sort of our kindergarten guru and helps the other teachers when they have questions. So I think that's
we had to go
a
through
huge
2 days of
transition.
training, and so you have to have an interrater reliability, so it's 2 days of training, and then you have to take a test and prove that what you're seeing, you can do what you're saying, and so the reliability was.
So we hadn't done walk kids up to this point?
Honestly, there's no value to it, but it's required.
So that was what I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, no.
I was just, because I actually talked to one of the kindergarten teachers early on and kind of heard about that. Is there ever, how does it, my biggest question in the conversation was, how does the data get utilized? I mean, at what point do they go back and check it? Because they don't do it again in the fall, correct?
You could,
Or spring? They do it in the spring?
we
They
could,
don't ever do it.
we could redo it if we want. We already have skills inventories that we use, that we develop, that are directly related to our curriculum. So we've done a skills inventory in kindergarten for years that was directly related to what we were teaching. And we found that to be better because it shows what our kids don't know based upon direct instruction the teachers are providing. This is fine, but it's so intense, it takes so much time. Then the materials that we already have and have already developed, our skills inventories that we've already used were much better for us. You can redo this, you can use that data, you can use it as the basis of your report cards, it's there if you want to. Use it, but the amount of time that it takes to actually do is taking away from instruction.
So do we still do our other skills inventory?
Absolutely, because it drives our instruction. The other skills inventory will show that the teacher taught, what the teacher taught, whether it's successful, what they're actually teaching. So it follows our curriculum. This is just a requirement. So it's a little, there's some valuable information there. It could help, but we give the kindergarten kids the easy CBN plus our skills inventory, which related to exactly.
Yeah. Because I've heard from other school districts that they found it very valuable. So, but again, it's whether you're using it.
I would think if you got down to the level of the individual teacher, you might find it a little bit different rather than the district related that way. I mean, it's usable if you want to, but because we already have something that's related to what we're doing. Plus our classes are big and it's brand new, so maybe in a couple of years we'll think differently.
I think the real benefit is getting parents in with their kids to sort of not only get the kid introduced to the teacher on a one-on-one basis, but the parent can see maybe calm some of their nerves with their first kid. That
was
actually what I said, that may be the only real positive to it because they require you to do it in the fall, but they don't want you to follow up.
And that was actually why I asked the question, because as far as how many parents were participating, because I remember, when our girls went to kindergarten, the very first class, you'd think every parent, it was like half the parents were there, and it just seems so crazy to me that, there wasn't more involvement. So that does seem positive if we had almost 100%.
And then when we have conferences in a week or the first week of November, it's almost 100% for all our kids. So it's the parents are involved in that way as well. So.
Well, and if the parents take the information and maybe there's some benefit to it.
I was intrigued when our grandson started kindergarten. They actually did a skills assessment in the spring and then said, here's some things that your child could work on over the summer to get them ready to go.
Our preschool gives an offshoot of this as well. It's another requirement. So in our preschool, they're doing something like that. I mean, it's sometimes pushing things further and further down that, I don't know, I think sometimes kindergarten kids need to be kindergarten kids and be little, and it's,
Well, there is that clear issue that when our girls were starting kindergarten, there was a big push to, do they really need to start? We kept our our number 2 daughter out for a year just because she wasn't ready, and now, you know, they're really pushing that stuff down so that the kindergartners are doing what they used to do in the first grade, or at least there's a number of
That's
those
what
things.
that's what they're doing.
Yeah. So it's, yeah, I worry whether they're all ready for it. Particularly little boys are a real challenge in that. Right?
They are not all ready for it. The academic programs, we deal with a lot of behavior issues up front because they're not used to being in groups and waiting their turn and raising their hand and those kinds of things. Yes.
Yeah.
So spend a lot of time with management training.
But that's kind of what kindergarten, a
That's
lot of
what
it's about.
Used
It's
to be
just,
totally, but now it's academic as well.
Yeah.
So it's different.
Any other questions or comments?
Next month, we will have a report from Simpson on a topic to be determined. So.
We look forward to that. Thanks, Mr. Louts. Business operations report.
So Sheila is at her final parents weekend in Arkansas visiting her son, so priorities here. Well, since it's the last one, she could go ahead and go. She did get the end of the year fiscal report is now complete and sent to the ESD, so in November, you'll be getting that report from her, which is what you've seen in the past. Other than that, if there are any questions.
Like cash is up.
No.
No, cash balance is up. Any, nice report.
Thanks, very for having that. That's good.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda.
I would move that we approve the consent agenda as written.
I'll second.
Motion is second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Personnel report.
I move the personnel report.
Second.
Motion is second to approve the personnel report. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Moving on to the action items. Item A is wrestling out-of-state travel to California.
So as you recall, there is board policy that requires board approval for out-of-state travel. You've done it for cross country, and I think last year we did it for wrestling that went into Oregon to go to White Sand and Stevenson. Anyway, the wrestling team's been invited to a tournament in Northern California, and the name of the town has escaped me right now. But they are in the process of determining if they have the booster funding to go, and or if they're going to go. But they wanted to get your approval so that they can at least get that stuff out of the way. It's not going to cost the district any money. They just need the approval to go out of state.
I'll motion to approve the out-of-state travel.
Second.
We have a motion second to approve the wrestling team to travel out of state to California. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item B, renewal of NCO agreement.
So I would move that we authorize Steve to sign the little deal that says that we reviewed it and like what we see.
We got a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Field turf donations, we have 4 of them. Why don't we just do them all together?
Yeah, I'll move that we accept the 4 field turf donations listed here.
I'll second.
Motion is second to approve the donations. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Levy discussion.
That way. This is the information.
Same?
No, there's a
Oh,
This is the information that was requested from the last meeting about MSOC and transportation. Or you should have a 14, 15 on the top and a 15, 16.
He didn't, what if I wanted to 15,
So you could have those if they're going to look at that.
Okay.
Okay, so if you look at the highlighted part there, and keep in mind that the 14-15 is the actual from the year that we just completed. The 15-16 number is the budgeted number for this year's budget that we're in. But if you look at line F for MSOCs and you see the highlighted number, we are $421,982.30 of an increase.
In funding. between the
Yes.
two.
But the reason for that is the old rate per student was $848, and it's now down to $1,210 plus $1.97 for each 9 through 12
What
student.
was the number? 421.
For the over, 421,982.
Okay.
848 was the old per student amount, and it's now 1210 plus $1.97. So that comes out to $363.98 of additional per FTE MSOC money.
Okay.
That's good. So does this mean that the levy burden is less, I would assume?
Well, it depends on how you look at it. You could make that assumption, yes. That I'm looking at it in terms of what you can ask. We still have a 28% levy lid, so that's our amount we can ask for, which is what we were really close to last time. Yeah.
Were we maxed?
Either max or right underneath it, which was at 2.3 million and some change, which we only collected about 2 million to 2.1. So if you look at it that way, nothing changes. If you look at it in the way that we've received $300,000, or we're going to receive $300,000, $400,000 more, then you could theoretically say we could deduct $400,000 from the levy.
But
However, there are other factors.
isn't the argument that they're trying to make though, is we're getting more funding from the state so that we don't have to be reliant on the levy? I mean, is that not the purpose of the?
That's sort of the overall purpose, and this is one piece of it, but we have to fix the levy part of it as well. But yes, that's what this is aiming towards.
And then, so the second part of that is, if that's the case, then if we were gonna leave our levy where it is currently, to me, you'd have to justify why do we need an extra $400,000?
Well, that's what I was just gonna say, when, there are other issues, the utility costs going up, those types of things are gonna play kind of a leveling factor with that, maybe not $400,000 worth, but
When do we decide when do we vote on the levy? I mean,
December 11th, so we really need to either decide it at the November meeting, or we need to have a special meeting in December to,
Well, really, what we decide is this board gonna do it or they?
well,
I
yes.
mean, they're either, the new board is either come in and hit the ground running.
Do they get sworn in November?
Cause we for sure have
So they
another.
would get sworn in at the December meeting. So we would have,
So wait, so it is gonna be us.
but we would have, if we had a December meeting before that, they would get sworn in, and then the meeting would be to determine. I mean, whatever.
Well, the only, I mean, not whatever, but the only problem with that is if they have no.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
I mean, it makes sense that we try to do it next month. Just to have it
Here's
done.
the challenge, I mean, it may be that we need to have I guess what maybe we should think about is having a session, a levy session. Because I think it would be great, just conceptually, I mean, whether it works or not, I think it'd be really nice for us to be able to go to the voters and say, hey, we're not asking for as much this year because we're getting more money from the state. Now, does it have to be dollar for dollar? Not necessarily, but it would be, in my, again, not knowing what our needs are, it would be, to me, a good place to be if we could say, we're asking for 200,000 less.
And here's what I think it's a good idea to do that. My initial little red flag is, what if our assessed value is up and even at a decreased rate, we're asking more than we last had? How do you explain that?
Oh,
What do you mean?
So if our assessed value is higher, and let's say we decide we're
what
not
do
gonna
they do
go
next
20.
assessed value?
Well, I've got a
What do they-
meeting
Montesano
tomorrow
assessed?
with the assessor. If our assessed value's up, and so let's say we don't go 28%, let's say we go 25 or 26, but that's 2.5 million. And so we're going out there saying we're asking for less than we did last time, which we really are, because we're not maxing out the levy, but the total dollar amount is higher than the 2.3 that we did 4 years ago.
So I think we always talk about the dollar amount. Rates and all that stuff are,
But we don't have.
unless, except when you kind of get to a point where you've figured out what you need, you can translate that into so much per thousand. But if we say, well, gee, we're gonna go from 28 to 26, but that generates more money, then let's go to 24.
Right.
So we don't generate more money, then we don't have to walk all through these subtleties of, yeah, we're asking for less, but we're getting more.
When do we know
all
that?
that kind of stuff. I think we figure out how much we need.
I will get some information tomorrow.
I can't remember, when did Montesano get assessed last? Do we know? Anybody know?
It's supposed to be every year.
It's every 4 years.
Oh, it is every year now, that's
No,
right.
it's every year.
But it's not near as detailed as it was.
No, but they,
I don't think that our assessed value is gonna grow significantly,
no.
No.
but I think that's just at least something to look at. And I think for discussion's sake,
It's
the dangers of leaving money on the table.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
we
it's-
have
I think
that
it's worth-
discussion.
Well, because the other thing, and I know we brought this up, but I would like to spend, if we need to have a discussion about it, I think we really have to, I really feel strongly, just from a manpower and cost and everything else, I like the 4-year levy idea. And I know you had a question about that. So I think that, if we need to have that conversation, that'd be good too. But
So I think it's worth it to schedule a meeting.
right.
I mean, we can draw up the whiteboard and the whole 9 yards.
I think,
But when are you available? And are you leaving town?
no, actually, I'm around all of November.
I think I am too. So I would just say we'll probably try and set it, what about you guys over there?
These guys are always flexible. It's usually cause the
I'm not going
problem.
anywhere.
They are. I'm actually gone for a week at Thanksgiving, but
Well, it won't be that late, because our next meeting is before Thanksgiving.
yeah.
So it'll
I
be,
mean, I'm thinking next week,
I don't
not
think,
next
probably
week,
not next
first
week,
week
the
of
following
November.
week is
Yeah.
probably what I'm gonna say would be the time to do it. And, either the Tuesday or Thursday, I gotta double check.
I'm busy that Tuesday, but I'm available the rest of that week.
so that would be Thursday, the
5th.
So let me double check. And then we'll get something out hopefully tomorrow.
Okay, I will check with you tomorrow on that date, and you guys look at that and see if there's a problem.
Yeah, I can try. Let's see.
Be about the same time in the evening.
We can do it whenever,
Okay.
whatever works for you.
You know, we either do it the Thursday or the Tuesday, y'all have to come for spaghetti dinner because
You gonna bring spaghetti dinner?
I sold an Italian dinner for 8 at an auction. Now I have to come
You know
through
what?
that night.
1, 2, 3. You know, it's only 2 more.
You'd have to talk
There you
to the Vols about that.
Well, those are ones spaghetti dinner?
Yep.
We might have to have an off-site. That'd be fun. Road trip.
Okay, so we'll take a look at that. And we can bring all this stuff.
Yeah, because I think. You gave us some good information. So if we could have that information, this.
Oh, let me finish what I started here. Transportation. So the transportation won't be recalculated until February of 16, this February. Our current funding is the same as last year, as we know right now, except for an increase 3% for salaries and 0.85% for benefits. So our expenditures are $507,458, and our allotted dollars are $483,841. So levy dollars paid for $23,617 of transportation.
Theoretically, the legislature would say that we've been getting 100% of transportation for at least a couple of years now. So that's what you're seeing there, I think, is probably in the ballpark of what we'd expect to see over the next few years.
Although I mean.
Well, in terms of that kind of relationship with it, money will vary a little bit, but.
Yeah, it's not never going to be
Well-
fully.
Well, yeah, they would say it's fully funded, but each district, a lot of districts that have to run up, something like running up to Satsa or up to Wainuchi, there's some additional costs that aren't necessarily in the formula.
How does that Wednesday work before? I'm a little worried about the Thursday for soccer playoffs.
Except that those may be all over the board, so let me,
They won't necessarily be on.
not necessarily, let me talk with Tim. Because
Wednesday.
I thought about that too.
Fine,
Volleyball,
Wednesday's okay.
I believe, is on, volleyball districts is on Wednesday the 4th, I think, which should be here, which should be in Madison. But let me look at all that stuff and we'll send some days out.
Yeah, Wednesday or Thursday, both would work.
Any other discussion on this today?
No, but thank you.
Yeah, that number is, that's a good number, yeah. Okay, item number H is property on West Sassett Claw Road.
Okay, so back in 97, Kelsey Foundation donated a piece of land, a 20, I want to say 26 acre, 29 acre,
That's 38.
28.33 according to the Mason County. And right now it's sitting there with people dumping their trash and people going out there and doing drugs and all sorts of other.
It's amazing.
So West Sansett and Cloqualum those don't ever cross.
West Sassett, Cloqualum, same road.
The name of the road is West
Yeah.
Sansett Cloqualum.
Okay, but
But if you look at it.
the West Sansett's
No,
over
no,
here,
no, no, no.
Cloqualum Creek's
Did
over
it say
there.
West Sassett? Sorry, I meant East Sassett.
Okay,
Actually, you know what it's called though? The West Sassett Cloqualum Road. That's really what the title of it is. It's right here on the parcel thing.
okay,
The Sassett Cloqualum Road West version. Anyway, so they gave us this land. It's not worth much in terms of building. It's there's an owner out there that basically surrounds the land. And there's about 10 acres of non-wetland sort of timber area. So I called Chuck Caldwell last week and asked him about it to make sure that there was not a stipulation that we had to give it back, which I was more than happy to do. But he said, no, there isn't. And if we wanted to sell it, he double checked that, got back to me the next day, said no. He said he was going to drive out there either the end of this week or the first part of next week to check it out and give us a figure of what it might be worth. The county assessor says the total value is around $75,000, but considering the wetlands, we've got a sort of an estimate of 30-ish that it would be worth. So the liability factor of being out there with, who knows what going on, I just soon get rid of it. And if you are so inclined, after we get the dollar amount, we could put it up for sale and see what happens. It was originally intended to be a forestry type environmental studies thing, but because it's so far out there, by the time you got out there with a group of kids during class period, you got to turn around and come home.
So we have a closer piece of property.
Yeah, on Camp Creek.
Well, so you can go to the Grace River College or something. And do stuff like
And
that.
I did call, it's apparently, the only way to log it is to build a bridge unless we get access through
Through the neighborhood clubs.
because they got the rest of the Kelsey Foundation, or the Kelsey property. Yeah. So,
I imagine we could do that. I mean,
well, I think he probably would let us, but the other thing that it means is realistically, because it's gotta go to public option, it's not gonna be worth anything. The only one that's gonna be worth anything to is him. Because nobody's gonna put a bridge up to get to 11 acres of loggable land, most likely. But it's worth getting it done. That's what he told me. He said there's no way to get to that property without building a bridge, unless they, come through his property.
So just to,
But I do think he's interested, and he did say he was gonna send a surveyor to see what realistically it's worth, and if we decide to sell it, then what he would want to take, but.
but just to confirm, we really practically can't use it. And there's safety concerns.
There was an old metal building out there that, in fact, it was listed on something that I saw, but it's been torn apart and stolen. And
Oh, okay.
Metal.
like a tiny little metal building, not like a big shop, but it was like
Scrap.
a shed. So it's horrid. But I just wanted to bring that up. When we get the numbers from Chuck, we'll pass that along, and then perhaps at the November meeting, we make a decision as to whether or not to put it on the market.
Yeah, those are the things that always sound really good at the time, but the logistics of using it effectively are pretty tough.
Yeah, it was a very generous donation. but-
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? So we're okay with moving forward and checking into what we think there?
Yeah.
Okay. Public comment number 2. Anybody? All right, superintendent.
So this afternoon, King 5 News was down doing a story on the kids reading the dogs, which will be airing in about 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Craig, you want to say anything about that?
I won't be on it.
Anything else about that?
You disappointed in that?
No, not at all.
Feeling left out?
No, I'm with Diana Smith. We were, it was all about the kids and the dogs, so we really think.
You guys hid in the corner and just hope you didn't get caught.
Pretty much, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm here and Janine's at a different meeting, so
Were you there?
Janine was, so neither one of us will know whether Maggie
Maybe
made
it'll
the
be on
DVR.
news.
Somebody will put it on somewhere.
And then Saturday night's a Hall of Fame banquet. Another group of, good luck. I don't know that I may be giving it my tickets because they've oversold. But I think they've sold 257 tickets.
It's not a big room.
Yeah. But there's a lot of interest. There's a lot of people that are going in, a couple of teams and individuals. So promises to be another good night. Other than that, I do have some graduation rate information that I'll send to you tomorrow, our latest graduation rate info. And everything else is going very smoothly. Okay, very good.
Caleb.
Thanks, Dick, for the information. That was helpful. I put some pieces together about the after-school program that I didn't know, so I thought that was nice. And I like that we have that available in our community for the kids and also for the adult volunteers that help. Thanks to them. Maybe you may be here or hear about it. Thanks for the presentation to Mr. Laux for the WAC kids. At least we know what it is, and I hope it's not taking away from the other ways we evaluate too much. It sounds like we're still able to do it all, which is good. But appreciate the information on that. I just was thinking about, saw your name on here. Thought this is the first year in a long time that I haven't had a kid at that school. Our youngest is Simpson this year, so that's interesting. Well, they have a lot of good experiences with people. So that's all for me.
Yeah, I saw those donations are still coming in. It's really nice to come to so many meetings and see, it usually doesn't happen that way. So I just want to acknowledge that again. That's great that there's a lot of generous people in the community. And also, regarding the after-school program, it is very, very valuable. And also on a side note, I know some kids who are interested in a robotics club. So if that's ever part of it, you have some people willing to
We'll
participate.
follow up on the technology deal in the summer and see if we can come up with something.
There's some other high school kids that are doing that. And that's about it.
Very good.
So when we moved the WASDA meeting in Bellevue is the first night of that's the same night as our board meeting. We have adjusted the board meetings at past. I haven't signed up because things are up in the air until after the election. So I don't know whether I would be going or not.
When is that?
It's
November
the
19th you're talking about?
Yeah, November 19th is a Thursday, which is our meetings in December, November the 3rd Thursday.
Yeah, but every year it ends up on
I don't know why we were thinking about that.
the Thursday night of,
So we need to look at Tuesday or Wednesday probably.
that would be,
So let me send that out as well. So that would be the 17th or 18th.
yeah,
Okay, good point.
may not be necessary. We may need to send Kelly to that WASDA meeting, but
Well, but I think we need to have the opportunity to go if we, and I should have.
All I know is I'm not going.
Oh, you didn't have a good time last time?
Well, I always recommend to everybody that those are very valuable in terms of
Watch Caleb eat.
seeing what other districts are doing and hearing what the issues are.
Yeah, I think it's great. I would encourage anybody that's gonna be on board to do it. So yeah, I think it makes sense moving the meeting.
Okay, I will look into that as well tomorrow.
Okay, I think that's all I have.
So I would say the same thing, and I know I said it a little earlier, but I'm very impressed with the after-school program, so I'm glad to get the report, and glad that we're able to continue to do that. And I want to, I sat at the Beacon Awards Assembly last June, and realized this is the first year in actually 12 years that we haven't had a kid at Beacon Elementary. So I just wanted to say thank you for stewarding our 4 kids through that school and getting them in great shape as they moved on to Simpson and everything else they've done.
Good kids, all your kids are good kids.
You never messed them up, Craig. Good job.
But what struck me though, and it's funny that it's so long because I missed like the next 3 meetings, so I apologize this is so late. But what struck me watching that was your focus on citizenship with the kids and the impact that I think that has at the school. So I really do want to thank you for what you've done with the kids there, and specifically my kids, but I think all the kids that have gone through there and what they've learned. So I think that was really all I had at the moment as well. So with that, everybody have a good night. Thanks for coming, and we'll get a date out as soon as we can on for the levy.
Levy board.